Appalachia is a unique place. From the southern tip of New York State down to the northern tip of Mississippi, Appalachia is a culture deeply connected to the geography that cradles it. Rivers and streams flow through the hills and the hollers, not unlike the blood that courses through our own veins, delivering the oxygen that quickens our minds and gives us life. A host to a plethora of contradictions, Appalachia is the heart of rural America. The scenery is frequently breathtaking, while the politics and its economy sometimes heartbreaking. And amidst this lopsided backdrop flows art and music and culture that is unlike anywhere else on our planet. And culture is not stagnant. It shifts with time, holding to its roots, yet blossoming to reflect the changes of its own landscape. This documentary focuses on some of the women and an organization that are actively involved in shaping this culture and this place.
Been the type that if someone says, you can't do that, that's not possible, it's really hard at your age, or it's really difficult, I take that as a great challenge to say, you think I can? Well, yes, I can. I've done tougher things, I'm sure. And that's gotten me into some trouble, but in Appalachia, we don't always recognize how strong and resilient our people are, but especially our women.
And my husband even suggested that I sign my artwork with Lee. So people would think I was a man and I might be more successful, but I refuse to do that. You know.
Well, there are lots of women in Appalachia, but I just happen to be a black woman in Appalachia who happens to be a full-time artist.
March is Women's History Month. And we started this 9 years ago. We got the idea because of Women's History Month and from noticing that the majority of the artists are women. So we thought, well, let's just use this opportunity to focus and showcase on women artists. So we made sure that we had all women artists, we had women as caterers, and also the band was all female. We allowed the guys to come to the shows.
I'm not gonna be old until I die, die, die. No, I'm not gonna be old until I die, die, die. Well, I'm not gonna be old till I start growing old. Oh, no, I'm not gonna be old until I die. Well, I'm not gonna stop dancing till I die, die, die. No, I'm not gonna stop dancing till I die, die, die. Well, I'm not gonna stop dancing, but you can take your chances. I'm not gonna stop dancing till I die.
Over the past several years, women have just been coming forward and more and more and more. I mean, back in the day, yeah, we had some really good female blues singers that made it, but compared to the ratio of women to men, there wasn't a whole lot, you know. We didn't have the freedom to do very much, and now it's just like it's empowering.
I'm not gonna stop fighting for peace until I die, die, die. Not gonna stop fighting for peace until I die, die, die. I'm not gonna stop fighting for peace till the whole world joins with me. I'm not gonna stop fighting for peace until I die. I'm gonna live and let live until I die, die, die. I'm gonna live and let live until I die, die, die. I'm gonna live and let live, and may I choose to give. I'm gonna live and let live until I die.
I love male musicians as well, don't get me wrong, but it's just empowering that we get to we get to experience this, and nowadays women don't have to be afraid to be creative and express themselves, and yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it.
Well, I probably won't stop working till I die, die, die. No, I probably won't stop working till I die, die, die. Well, I probably won't stop working, but you won't catch me twerking. I probably won't stop working till I die.
For so many years, even throughout history, women artists and musicians, any woman in the arts, found that they were kind of out of place, that men were dominant in their field. So I think it's important that women try to not just be known as women artists, but just as artists too. I was a teacher, an elementary art teacher in Cabell County, West Virginia, and I retired 2 years ago last February. And that's when I got really serious about painting. And I had the time to devote to it, because when you work full time, you come home, you're just so exhausted, you just want to rest. I've got 3 pieces I brought over, because that was the limit. I had, it's called Little Helper, and it was the little dog with the cowboy on the horseback. It's one of my favorite paintings, and it was actually on display at Tamarack, because I'm a Tamarack artisan also. So it was shown there for a while, and then the other one, of course, is the woman with the white veil around her, and I called it Retrospect because it was completed during the COVID shutdown, and to me, she kind of looked like the position of her head was kind of looking back, and she looked kind of like she was just missing things. And I really missed art shows and getting together with other artists. My other one also is of a woman dancer, and she is also seen with a lot of light and shadow. And I like how you can get the different values, and it makes your art look very three-dimensional by having those shadows incorporated into the subject. Well, when I was a teacher, a lot of my younger female students, the girls, I hope to be a good role model and inspire them that when they grew up, they could follow a career path in art or music or something in the arts. And I've had several students that have done that, and it's great to see how they have matured and made a successful living.
I wasn't born with natural talent, but I was born with the love of music. My grandfather bought me one of those little plastic ukuleles. It's got the red strings, nylon strings, and it came with a little book that showed you how to make a D chord and a G chord, a C chord. And then my other grandfather had I never did hear the story on this guitar, but he went up in his attic and found an old guitar that was a real nice acoustic. The wood sounded amazing. It was so much better than that little plastic thing I'd been banging on. So yeah, I spent a lot of time just after school, on weekends, I mainly just stayed by myself and played that guitar. That felt like a comfortable place for me. I was raised with a really strong work ethic from my parents, and music was not something that you would do. You need to get a real job.
I am the blues bitch. I play Appalachian blues.
My first exposure to blues music was at the Huntington Harmonica Club in Huntington, West Virginia. They were a group of people that met once a week, and they were doing a lot of traditional songs, and then they were also doing blues standards. And I hadn't heard the blues standards, but then the more I started listening, I really got intrigued by it, and started listening, and then realized that I had heard some of those songs covered by rock and roll people like the Rolling Stones, Bad Company. And then when I realized that I'd been listening to blues my whole life, I just didn't know that that's what it was, because it was disguised.
It ain't bad getting old, not as long as you still can dance. It ain't bad getting old.
I started performing once a week, and from there it started becoming a bigger part of my life. And then I started writing. I would get inspired. I'd hear lyrics, or I'd just sit down with my guitar and just start noodling on it, and there'd be, oh, well, that's a song. I believe that the Creator puts the ability to create in us, and that's when I feel the closest to something better than this world.
I've been drawing since I can remember. I can't remember a time when I didn't have a pencil in my hand, and I was going through so much paper that instead of sketchbooks, they would buy me the packs of printer paper. I was really lucky to have an elementary school teacher who was, very encouraging of art, and who worked with me outside of school and was really, just a huge inspiration and a huge influence, and also drove me personally to want to create and want to, develop my talent and not just use it as, a fun hobby on the side. It was actually something that she really believed in me. And I think it's important that girls have someone, not only to set an example, but someone who they can come to, be mentored. And, if I can mentor young artists in some way, or offer my advice or constructive criticism, for me, that was probably the most important thing that I learned as an artist, is to take criticism and take critique and know when to throw away what you didn't need, and know what to keep and take with you, so that your work would not only improve, but that your mindset and outlook would grow. Being a woman here, you do feel like you have something to prove. And having somewhere to come and I've had pieces in the Women of the Art show they do here, and having somewhere to come where, women aren't just accepted, they're celebrated. And I think that's what all women want. They want their work to matter just as much as a man's. And I feel like that's valid. I feel like it's not too much to ask.
Well, I personally like to show people that it's okay to be messy, as long as you mean it. Mm-hmm. Like, that we've played some shows, and maybe the song wasn't quite as polished as we wanted, but we had something to say, and we wanted to say it loud, so we said it loud. I might have messed up a couple times, flubbed up a couple words, but I meant every single word I said.
Metal's like a fungus, it grows on you.
It's like, it's an acquired taste for sure.
Exactly.
I think you might wait, is this on?
Yeah.
Check. I think you might just be the one. There's only one way
Appalachia, women have a certain role they tend to play. And a lot of it is, you know, child rearing and taking care of the home and just kind of making your husband happy or your spouse, whoever that may be. But our punk style is saying we're not going to do what all the other Appalachian women are doing, but yet we're going to take what they've been doing and put it in everybody's face and say, this is what Appalachian women really are behind the curtain. This is how we really feel. And, you know, giving a voice to women in Appalachia or women all over the country who feel like they can't speak out and they can't, you know, be who they want to be and be loud. I feel like that's what we really are representing is, you know, the Appalachian woman who wants to be loud and to be heard.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know, women are kind of tossed off to the side as jokes or as a parody of what a real band would be or whatever.
Summer came around and you wanted me. You said that it would last this time. I said it to my baby, so look at me. The baby said the thought of you. I love you, I love you, I thought you loved me. You did until January.
I got accused of getting certain gigs because I looked a certain way, which was weird and awful, and I kind of let it get to me pretty badly when it happened. But then I just kind of remembered who I really am and turned it into fuel and thought, okay, well, let me just be the best I can be at what I do, so nobody has any room to accuse me of getting where I am off of anything other than my musical merit and my creativity.
I've been working all day, night on the side, running around like I've been working on it, on this thing. Every single minute I've been on the go, up and down the ladder like a pretty girl bow. Working on it, on this thing.
We have a fairly large following of teen girls. Yeah. Surprisingly, for as many bars as we play in. Yeah. You know, but yeah, we do. I mean, my kids are in high school, and a lot of their friends follow our Instagram. They follow our Facebook. They look at what we're doing, and for them, you know, to inspire them, that's what it's about. Yeah. And like Katie said, even if it's not perfect, to show them you don't have to be perfect. Just do it. Yeah. You know, just do it. Just go have fun.
I think it's an important concept for us that people are accepting of themselves, especially girls. You know, everybody struggles with feelings of self-doubt. Everyone struggles with, inadequacy, the feelings of inadequacy that everyone experiences. But I think, especially our culture right now, as women, tells us a lot that we need to do certain things or buy certain things or wear certain things in order to have value. And I think for us, one of the themes of our band, our songs, is chucking that all out the window and going for something that's a lot more important, which is, communication and relationships, accepting yourself, having a voice.
And now my elbow's thrown.
We don't need your money. We want to make the world dance. Forget about the price. Ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching. Ain't about the bling, the bling. Gonna make the world
Appalachia has been a part of me because I was born here, so I take it with me everywhere I go. It helps me to create, and I think I probably wouldn't be able to present myself the way I do had I not been from Appalachia. There seems to be slowly more support for women in Appalachia and their creativity. I really don't consider myself to be an actual activist, but I actively want to always lend my voice if I can to causes and things that I think need a voice, need to be spoken up about. I'm more likely to write a song about what I feel, and that's my statement. And if people want to take that as activism, that's on them. But it's just me expressing how I feel, and sometimes people listen to it.
Pandemic days, pandemic nights, this is our new reality. Trying hard to deal with this virus mentality. Politicians telling lies, corruption rises, turn our backs while neighbors die.
It was just something I had to do. Karma is a Bitch, I actually came up with that song, with the idea of it. Of course, everybody knows that saying, karma is a bitch, and in the last 4 years or so, but I would wake up almost every morning, you know, and sort of check in on, well, you couldn't help but hear what was going on in the news, but, you know, I would think karma is a bitch, and then it came to me, and she works for God, and I thought, I need to write a song, but the words just wouldn't come. They wouldn't come over like 4 years, and then in 2020 was when I actually finished the song. That's when the words came pouring out.
Oh, there's trouble in the world today. Revolution in the street. The rich are preying on the weak and poor instead of preying on their needs. Some people don't believe the sky is blue, don't believe the world is round. Self-righteousness has replaced the golden rule, and there's fake news all around. Oh, but you know the system is a fraud. But karma is a bitch and she works for God.
So I'm a transplant. I grew up in Arizona, and women in the West, we act differently. We're expected to present ourselves differently than women here in Appalachia. It's been quite a culture shock for me. When I moved here, I saw that here in Appalachia, that idea of women staying home and taking care of the house is even more, I think, ingrained here than it is out there by a long way. The more we're aware of that kind of thing, the more we can do to adjust it so that life is more fair, more just, more kind for everybody we're around. The 9 years we've been in Kentucky, this is the place I've been to where everybody is always welcome. If the door's open, anybody can come in. And if you are at all creative, What you do is you're welcome to bring it in and work on it like I'm doing now. The space is so welcoming, I think, that it's hard, at least for me, not to make things while I'm here. It's very hard for me to sit still anyway.
This is my second home. I'm a retired art teacher, and after I retired from teaching, I have took it upon myself to teach art lessons here and to create a kids corner and to teach classes of just anything that comes about that for the visual arts. We do summer camps, we do autism workshops, we do different types of things for adults, any type of cancer or like community fundraising projects. We are always there to help out.
The thing I will say about Grayson, it seems to be more inclusive of all types of art, not so much just fine art. I'm really a novice when it comes to visual art, and so for them to even allow my work to be hanging there, I'm really honored.
And I think it's really important for young people to be exposed to the arts, and especially to be exposed to art by women, and that's something that I feel like Grayson Gallery is providing as a service to their community, is to have art on display by women and by women of different ages, all kinds of different art.
The space that they have there is wonderful for public art and showcasing women, and I think there's so much opportunity there, and I hope people in the Grayson area will really support what they're doing, because whether they know it or not, they really have a gym there, so it's a great place.
You always look for those venues that you can get your art out there and people that will support you, and Dan Click's been awesome. He's very accepting of anyone and everyone and all abilities.
Mindy and Dan, they seem like polar opposites, but they really click very well, no pun intended. But they were great, and they really made me feel welcome.
The event itself, which is Women's History Month and Women in the Arts, we've been doing now for about 9 years, and it's always our largest show. So that's why it's always so exciting, and it has grown ever since we started it 9 years ago. In town, we have the president of our chamber is a woman, the president of our gallery is a woman, and the CEOs of half of these organizations that we work with are all women, and we just felt like it's really kind of time to do a special thing for women, because they support the art so much. They're always there, and it used to be the old thing where maybe the lady was at home and the husband worked, but we know those days are over. So it's really just the fact that they step up. They really care about their community, they care about each other, and they want to work together. So it's something we just sort of capitalize on to be able to bring that to people.
There's not enough places like this, and I feel like if we get out and support this, that more places like this will have the ability to be opened up so that more artists can get their work out there.
I was the former director in the last days of the Ashland Area Art Gallery that was around, I think, since 1971. And it was a fine organization, and it was supported by large corporations and that kind of thing, but it wasn't sustainable. The kind of money we had to keep raising just to keep the doors open, it wasn't as much fun coming to a board meeting when you're always having to talk about raising money and not talk about artists. We want to raise artists.
Growing up, I wish this was here when I was younger, but I'm glad it's here now for my students, because I am a teacher, to have opportunity to show and experience art outside of the classroom.
Everywhere I go, I'll ask them, I'll mention the gallery, I'll be in line at the grocery store and I'll say, are you an artist? What are you doing Friday night? And if they hesitate just a second, I know that they are, because they're afraid to say they're an artist. That's something that we all struggle with as artists to, what makes you that person to go? Is it because you sell? Is it because you are better than others? Who knows? But But I think it's just to let people know that everything they create is valuable. We don't have any restrictions on our medium, different types of media. There's no restriction usually on subject matter, even if it is a theme show. We're just open to about anything. If somebody wants to sit down and create it, whether it's to paint, carve, fiber art, any type of work can be original and shared with others. We realize that the bottom line here is just getting people out, giving them something to do. We're really trying to reach some of the young people that have had other problems they need to deal with. Art is a great way to do that. And just to keep it open and going, to bring this to everyone, regardless of whether they've been in the gallery or not. Many people don't even know they love art until they get hanging around a little bit.
I've played at Grayson Gallery and Art Center countless times throughout the years that they've been there, and it supports the arts. It totally embraces them. I mean, it pulls people out that didn't even recognize that this talent that they have is something that they could showcase to the community. And it's brought so much to our area.
We're so much to so many people. It's a creative space also. We host music and we host art classes for kids, and we work with grants from Arts for All Kentucky to bring art to children with disabilities. We've had programs also through Kentucky Foundation for Women that reached grandmothers raising grandchildren. So my mother was a very active proponent of my sister and I making sure that we did something, got an education, learned a trade, were able to take care of ourselves without having to depend on anyone else. And I really value the lessons that she taught me, and I want to make sure that other young women learn those same lessons, because I don't think they do in a lot of families. And I'm going to say in Appalachia as a whole, but in Eastern Kentucky, definitely. Women need to be raised up. Women need to be taught that they have value and that they are important. I think that girls, young women, need to see other women in positions of power, importance, to recognize that they are as important in their community as the boys are. I don't know if it's all societies in America, but typically the boys are the ones that are counted on to do things and be strong and be important in the family. And I think the girls need to see that they're important also. And they have as many skills and abilities as any boy could ever have, and they need coaching, mentoring, to be brought along to realize their importance and that they can do what they set their minds to do.